China's increased presence in the South China Sea is likely to increase the risk of military clashes following decades of isolated incidents in the disputed waters. China claims it has a historic right of ownership to almost the entire South China Sea, despite a 2016 international arbitration ruling saying Beijing's claim had no legal basis under international law. But the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan and Brunei also have overlapping claims to parts of it. DWF's head of transport, Jonathan Moss, has explained China's presence as increasing frustrations felt by ASEAN states. Speaking to Express.co.uk, Mr. Moss said, "I think what that means is heightened tensions and increased prospects of clashes, potentially military clashes. What it's doing is upping the ante in terms of the dialogue and the frustrations and the anguish that is felt by these ASEAN states. That would be my take on China's activity in the South China Sea. The question is really, has China got the right to do what they're doing?" Mr. Moss also noted there is a real risk of further conflict in the waters. He said, "I think there's definitely a risk of all-out conflict. There have been pockets of conflict before. Going back about 20 years there was a naval battle where 3 Chinese vessels were engaged with the Philippines Navy gunboats. That was in the Spratly Islands. There's definitely the risk of isolated incidents, and as we know, a string of isolated incidents can lead to major conflict. It should be on the radar as a danger. It comes as 2 U.S. Air Force B-1B bombers took off from Guam and headed west over the Pacific Ocean to the hotly contested South China Sea. The sleek jets made a low-level pass over the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan and its escorting fleet, which was exercising nearby in the Philippine Sea, according to images released by the U.S. military. The operation was part of the Trump administration's intensifying challenge to China's ruling Communist Party and its sweeping territorial claims over one of the world's most important strategic waterways. While senior Trump officials launched diplomatic and rhetorical broadsides at Beijing, the U.S. Defense Department is turning to the firepower of its heavily armed, long-range bombers as it seeks to counter Beijing's bid to control the seas off the Chinese coast. Since late January, American B-1B and B-52 bombers, usually operating in pairs, have flown about 20 missions over key waterways, including the South China Sea, the East China Sea, and the Sea of Japan, according to accounts of these flights from U.S. Air Force statements and official social media posts. These missions, military analysts say, are designed to send a crystal-clear signal. The United States can threaten China's fleet and Chinese land targets at any time, from distant bases, without having to move America's aircraft carriers and other expensive surface warships within range of Beijing's massive arsenal of missiles. In this response to the growing power of China's military, the Pentagon has combined some of its oldest weapons with some of its newest, Cold War-era bombers and cutting-edge, stealthy missiles.
Steady course 253, taking course 258. Very well.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe for our channel.